everyone, to Life Balance Power, a safe place to explore and learn about yourself. We're here with Coach Archna for Archna on the Spot, a mini podcast where Coach Archna answers her followers' questions. Hi, Archna. How are you today?
Hi, Charlie. I'm great. How are you?
Wonderful. Hey, Archna, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Can you share some strategies for staying grounded in the face of challenges?
Hmm. Well, the first strategy that comes to mind, Charlie, is to breathe. Just take a deep breath. Sometimes when I when I'm facing something that is unexpected in a negative way, the hardest thing to do is stay calm. So I can share with you what I have done to help me stay grounded. And that might be things that you can try, that everyone can try. So, one of the things that I do is I I sit down in my chair. I have a specific chair that I go to, and I will just sit and plant myself down and do nothing, turn my phone off, don't do anything. I do not make a decision. I do not even think about the problem. So that's the first thing I do. So I'm facing something. It's like all of a sudden you're going along, walking along a trail, and you see a tiger. What is the first thing to do, right? That's how it feels. It's like you've come upon a tiger. And the first thing I do is I have this special chair. It's just my size. And I sit down and I will turn off the phone. I'll put it on the side, or I'll put some nice meditative music, calming music. So I'll put that on. I'll sit there and just breathe. And sometimes, if it's too much, I'll count the breaths. 1, 2, 3. What I'm really doing is I'm getting my energy from my head, getting it down all the way down to my toes, because the mind is so busy and afraid that the excess energy is like, wee, is like that, right? So what I do is I treat it like when you're flushing. So I kind of push a button right here, and then you take that energy and you just let it flush all the way down to your toes into the center of the earth. That's a strategy that's amazing. It works instantly, right? Because it's energy. So you just push a button as if there's a flush right here, boom, and let it go. Let it all the way down to the earth. Then what I do is I treat the earth core like a magnet. So it's one thing that I'm letting go, but something has to pull it on the other side. That's a magnet in the center. So the earth, Mother Earth says, I'll take it all. When we say we give it away, that's what we're doing. We're just letting it go, and the earth just says, okay, I'll take all that stuff that you don't want. I'll take it. So I let it go. That's what I do. So that's one strategy that I do. The second one is breathing. I'll sit and breathe. So breathing, flushing it down, and then um, I don't really think about it right away, but the thoughts keep coming because I'm worried. There's something in the background that's still just worried here and there and things like that. So every time the worry comes, it just kind of creeps up on me. So every time the worry comes, I'll go and touch something. I'll do the dishes. Oh my gosh. This is how I get my house cleaned. I clean where there's a problem. The reason why is because the energy is so busy in my mind that I need to extract the energy from my mind through my body and onto something that I feel is productive. So I'll do the dishes, I'll clean the house, I'll organize something. All of a sudden, my attention is no longer on the problem that I feel is there. The tiger is becoming more like a paper tiger than a real tiger, right? The imagination is working through it. So I'll start bringing my body and my mind into something that I know is physical. I can touch it. I can improve it. I can make a difference. I can look at it and say, oh, that looks so much better now. I feel so much better. So I shift my attention from what's wrong to what I want to see is what's right. So that's how I do it. So that's the third strategy that I use. The fourth one is I will call somebody that can help me. Now, I will be very, very careful on who I call. I will not be calling somebody that feels sorry for me, that adds to the problem, that have sympathy for me. I will not call that person. I will not call somebody that is taking the attention away, but I'll just call somebody that can just be there and may listen. I may want to talk about it, but they ask you the questions that you need to explore versus in somebody who gives you advice. Advice is at that point, really, I'm not open to anybody at that point. I'm in a problem. I want it solved, but I'm not looking for somebody's answers. I'm really wanting to understand what can I do next? And if I get somebody else's advice, they're good advice, good intentions, but they don't know what I'm really experiencing. They don't know, they're not fully in my situation. They're just still on the outside. Well, from the outside, everything is easy. When I'm on the outside, it's easy. I can look at anybody's problems and say, oh, yeah, just do this because I'm on the outside. But when I'm in the inside, that's my personal journey. So I'm in it. So I'm not really open for it. So I'm really specifically looking for the kind of person that is listening, asking questions, more like a coach. So a coach is a good person to go to. But coaches usually aren't there at a time when you need them. They're there on a structured daily, weekly basis, right? So coaches, a coach-like person, but not a coach, somebody that can support you. So the support is what we're looking for. So that's my third strategy. The fourth strategy is I actually write down the sequence of events. So I've learned that I will start the situation and I put a time on it. At this time, this happened. At this time, this happened. At this time, this happened. And all I'm doing is recording what happened, not my reaction to it yet. So on one side of the page, I have this is what happened at this time. This is what happened. This is what happened. I'm just recording a sequence of events. Then I have another column. How do I feel about this sequence of event? What's my reaction? What I want to know is what triggered me into making this a problem? What erupted or aroused in me to make it feel uncomfortable? And that's the things that I want to discover. This is what I want to discover. So if I don't have anybody, this is the task that I do. And I will do this for my employees, in terms of my employees or my contacts or anybody, any person that I'm having a situation with that feels like a problem. And I get excited. Finally, I'm at a point in my life where I get excited when I'm triggered. I love it because now it's telling me what is there that I need to look at that I can actually handle and overcome in my own self so that this never happens again. Right? So in the beginning, that was not the case. In the beginning, it was like, I don't want problems. I want it nice and perfect and smooth and everything that was what I wanted. And guess what happened? More problems came because I was not wanting problems and the more problems came. So the challenges were just adding up. But now when you start dealing with it one at a time and you are strategic about it, what you're doing is instead of focusing outward, from what's bothering you. You're coming back in and coming back to your own center to see how you can handle the things that come up in your life. So strategically, you're getting grounded. Strategically, you're getting centered. Now you're not afraid of whatever's happening next. And you can just say, and you'll see your ability to handle situations gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And some of those things that were so big feel like it's just a walk in the park. They're simple. It's easy to do. And that's how we grow and evolve, which is what I say. Personal growth is business is all about personal growth. If you're willing to go through the challenges, you will become who you truly are in an effortless space, which is amazing. It's fun. So those are, at least I think I mentioned 4 strategies, right? You're breathing, you're sitting down and grounding yourself, and you're flushing all the energies down. You're writing your sequence of events out and finding out what are the trigger points. And then talking to somebody that is listening to you, a good friend. And the next one is on a weekly basis to stay centered is the coaching. I have a coach. I have a therapist. They do different functions. They serve different purposes. But even a regular coach on a weekly basis, you can keep your business going long term. And here's how I see that. A ballerina keeps turning and turning and turning. The reason why the ballerina keeps turning is because they have a focal point. They're only doing one turn 1,000 times. It looks like they're turning all the time, but they're focused. I'm here, turn around, I'm back again, I'm back. And that's what the coach does. The coach is that weekly focal point that'll say, okay, here you are. And you come back a week later, okay, here you are. And you're making strides along the way, probably doing a lot of twirls, right? But your focal point is right there. So that's the 5th strategy that I use to stay grounded, because the coach is on the outside. Remember what I said? The person on the outside is just holding that, are there for you. They're not in it with you. They're not falling in. That's the space that helps a business owner keep moving. But as the challenges will get bigger and bigger, as your ability to handle your challenge will get bigger and bigger. And I've learned that if I try to bypass the challenge, if I don't learn the lesson, or if I don't take the responsibility, if I try to push it onto somebody else, it'll happen again because the lesson wasn't learned yet. So now the challenge is there for me because I wanted to grow, because I want the business to make more money, because I want to serve more people. So if I say I want to grow, but I don't want to handle some of the problems, but like that doesn't even make sense. If I want to grow and make a lot of money, but if I'm complaining about a payment that I have to make, that doesn't make sense, because somebody who's making a lot of money or can handle a lot of things, they're not worried. They're just effortlessly doing it. So that's my story and strategy is face it, integrate it, learn from it, get the lesson out of it. And then that automatically puts you at ease. Like you can handle the world, right? I have a situation where one of my employees caused some uncomfort with somebody else's equipment, right? Now I can totally avoid that because I'm no one is making me make it right to him. I don't have to, but I'm aware of it, that it was my employee. It was my decision to hire this employee, and the hire employee is responsible partly, right? But I'm willing to go ahead and cover his expenses because it's the kind of world that I want to live in. It's the kind of business I want to have. And it's the kind of people that I want to interact with. So I'm really more focused on me growing and being who I am versus the money. So I'm happy to pay him to make it right for him. So, but I've learned that lesson. That lesson is mine. It wasn't for him. That experience was for me. I took it, I learned from it, and the strategy keeps me grounded. I'm not afraid. Those are the things that I think that really help business owners and life in general. If you find out what's yours to learn and you learn it, you've owned it. It's yours. So staying grounded is really just focusing on what am I doing? Is this who I want to be? If it's not, do who you want to be. There, that's all it is. So I've seen that to work really well. And I've seen that the lessons keep coming, I think the lessons keep coming and the growth will help the business owner a lot. I said a lot. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. And you gave us some really great strategies. I like the one about taking that energy that comes from a stressful situation or a challenge that comes your way and washing the dishes. Like
Right.
releasing that energy in a positive way, doing something else, focusing your attention on something else, just to
Right.
give your mind a break. So I guess so that you don't jump into it emotionally. Is that part of the
Yeah.
strategy? Mhm.
Yeah. Well, the emotion comes up. It's just channeling the emotion so that I'm not freaking out. My
Right.
initial reaction for everything that didn't go my way was a freak out. That's how I started. And then as it kept happening, I'm like, well, something's got to change. And I realized I'm the only one that can change it. So maybe if I don't freak out, and I found out that, oh, well, if I manage my energy, then the freak out really isn't there. So then the situation is considerably lessened because it's not bigger than me anymore. Before, the problem was so big, it felt like a mountain in front of me. And so I would relax, I would do all these things. And the more calming I did, the smaller the mountain got.
Mm.
The problem was really manageable. I'm the one that made it so big. So it really isn't a problem until um, if you actually stay centered, the problem isn't as big as you think it is. And the mind has a way of, scaring us. And my mind has scared me a lot. So I'm learning to say, okay, thank you. I'm going to be right here. And then I kind of calm down and look at it differently. The problem looks different. All of a sudden, a new information comes in that says, oh, well, maybe he doesn't even need to do that. Or maybe I can do it this way. So the possibilities show up. The solution is in the center, right? That's what shows up. We get grounded, and all of a sudden the solution reveals itself. I think that's what happens. I think it was always there. I was just too busy freaking out to see it. So, yeah, I guess less freak out is really helpful. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that because the freaking out doesn't work. And I learned that a long time ago. I always would tell myself when something would happen, it's not a big deal unless you make it one, which was my freak out
Right.
because
Right.
I can be emotionally charged as well. And when you're in a corporate environment, that's just not appropriate behavior. So I had to
Right.
learn to really, get back to my center. Why am I here? Why am I doing this? What's going to be the positive outcome? And
Right.
then my thing would be to move on to a project that I enjoyed a little bit more. So,
Like washing the dishes.
yeah, put it down for a minute, put it
Right.
down for a minute, go to lunch, take a break,
Yeah.
you know, take a walk, and then come back. So you're right, it does significantly diffuse the issues.
Right.
So thank you, Coach Archner. That was wonderful. I
Thank
like
you.
how you go and sit by yourself. I never did the breathing, and I think I lost something in that. So I'm going to start thinking about that more often because life is stressful and things come at us, like you said, all the time. And then the thoughts make it so big. So I think I got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I
Perfect.
appreciate that. It's a good question.
Great. And we appreciate you. And I hope that everyone who tuned in today enjoyed Coach Archner's wisdom. We're happy to have her. We're going to use what she says, and we're going to allow her to teach us some more things. So, this was a conversation with Coach Archner on Archner on the Spot. And if you have questions that you'd like to ask her, please feel free to send them to askarchna@lifebalancepower.com. And we'll see you the next time on Archna on the Spot.